Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason in West Hollywood, California on Sunset Boulevard, and just behind me is a classic place for rock and roll. Yes, another landmark place. This goes back to 1964. There's a long list of bands and artists that have played here, and there's a historical marker, and I'm just gonna go ahead and check it out. Here we go. So the place I'm talking about is the Whisky A Go-Go. Yes, you've definitely heard it or read about it in the rock press. There have been some live albums performed here, and this is not open during the day, by the way, unless there's a concert going on. But yeah, never been inside, and of course I can't go inside, but this plaque was erected by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum, and that is in Cleveland, Ohio. And I don't know if there's any other plaques like these that, you know, are similar or that have been erected by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I can tell they got it behind glass, so I guess for obvious reasons they don't want no graffiti on it. Alright, so about the Whisky A Go-Go. Since opening in 1964, the Whisky A Go-Go has been one of the world's most prominent and important rock and roll venues. Its stage has served as the launching pad for generations of music legends, including Johnny Rivers, Frank Zappa, Love, The Doors, Buffalo Springfield, Guns N' Roses, and Motley Crue. Oh yeah, there's no doubt that, I mean, the same goes for the Viper Room, which is just right over there, and maybe a few other clubs here on Sunset Strip. I mean, this place back in the 80s, this was, it has associated itself with the 1980s rock scene or hair metal scene, if that's what you want to call it. But yes, this is still open, but however, during the pandemic, I mean, it's been struggling. I mean, make no mistake. And the same goes for a lot of other venues, famous or small, because yeah, they've lost so many dollars, and a lot of celebrities have pitched in, those who used to perform here. Even Elton John was one of them recently. Well, I even like the whole thing with that hippie looking girl with the bob do with a cigarette in her mouth. But the roots of the Whisky A Go-Go actually go back to 1958. The first one was actually in Chicago at the corner of Rush and Chestnut Streets. It has actually been called the first real American discotheque. But a franchise was opened in 1966 on M Street in the Georgetown section of Washington, D.C. And then it owes its name to the first discotheque, the Whisky A Go-Go, which in French means galore. And that it was established in Paris in 1947 by Paul Bassini, which itself took the name from the British novel Whiskey Galore. Okay, so it went from British to French to America, or England. Okay. And what I didn't realize what I was stepping in was a Star Walk. Okay, this has been dedicated to Van Halen, not Van Hagar, I know. But 1996. Unfortunately, this is the only star that I see, because yeah, I don't see none unless there's any by the side of the building, or maybe they're inside. And I was kind of mentioning why they mentioned Johnny Rivers on the plaque, because I mean, yeah, Johnny Rivers, he had a great career. I mean, he is still alive today, and he hasn't really been called a legend, and he's not even in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But the reason he is mentioned on there, however, is he was part of the house band here at Whisky A Go-Go. So okay, that explains a lot. But I mean, yeah, he still gets up and tours, and most of his hit songs were covers, Chuck Berry covers. I just knew I gotta be standing right here, acting like I'm putting a ticket in. Now what is this? Every Monday night, so last night, oh man, this was Tuesday. So yeah, there's lots of rock and roll history I could talk about. I mean, like the song Going to a Go-Go, it was not inspired by here. That was originally done by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and covered by the Rolling Stones decades later, but it actually was about a lot of go-go places, or galore places, I guess. So I guess I'll do a little slideshow with some few tidbits of trivia. I'm guessing this is where the bands come in. The band load door from the front door. Pretty cool. But how do they not get mobbed, though, is the question. And lastly, I gotta include this cool sign that you can see from Clark Street and Sunset Boulevard. This is the corner. Sammy's Beach Bar. Sammy Hagar? Oh, I didn't know he had a bar here. I know he has one in St. Louis and Cancun, but yeah, I had to include it, especially with the Lords of the Fallen video game. All right, I am Jason, just outside the Whisky A Go-Go, the legendary nightclub, the birthplace of rock and roll in Los Angeles, or so they say. All right, I am Jason, signing off.